What's going on, guys? Welcome to 2025, our first Squadron Wednesday Night Live. Here we are. Happy New Year. I hope everybody had a great Christmas, a Happy New Year. I got to spend time with family, got to see some friends perhaps, and maybe most importantly, build some models, right? No, that's not the most important thing during Christmas, but I hope you got to build some models anyway. And tonight being our show and tell, you guys really loaded me up tonight. We've got the largest show and tell that we've had yet. I do the different slides with the PowerPoint and all that. We've got 27 slides tonight. So we're going to be covered up with some awesome models to look at. And a lot of you, I just noticed within the last hour to an hour and a half, sent in some last minute submissions for the show and tell. Unfortunately, I had already finalized the PowerPoints for tonight. So if your model is missing from tonight, it will be in next month's show and tell. So I apologize in advance if I did not get yours into tonight's show. But keep that in mind in the future. I try to wrap up the show and tell. I would like to have it done before Wednesday, but that just never seems to happen. But middle of the afternoon, I try to wrap it up and get it ready for the evening. So keep that in mind for the future. We've got a lot to cover tonight. We've got a big announcement concerning the paint that we have been hinting about over the last few weeks. Got a lot of show and tell to look at. I've got a few new things I want to show you. So I want to go ahead and say I will not be here next Wednesday night. I'm going to be out of town, but to make up for that, tonight's show is probably going to run late. We got a lot to cover and a lot of good stuff. So just sit back and get ready to have some fun with model kits. So let me jump in the chat real quick, and I'm probably not going to have time to get to everybody tonight like I like to do. But first of all, Joseph Carpenter was asking about the post office tracking numbers and such. And I just want to pull this up. So, Joseph, this is your tracking information. And notice I've blocked out the tracking number, so I'm not giving anybody any secrets here. But this is a very common screen at the USPS.com when you run a tracking number. So you notice here it says shipping label created in Ringgold, Georgia. Ringgold, Georgia is where we are. We like to say Chattanooga, but technically we're in a suburb of Chattanooga, just over the Georgia line in a little town. It's not that little, but in a town called Ringgold. So what happens is we create the shipping label, we give the package to the post office, and what they're supposed to do is scan it in Chattanooga at the distribution center that day. And in this case, that's exactly what happened. Now, unfortunately, what did not happen is they did not get it out of their distribution center the same day. And unfortunately, and I saw scrolling down here through the live chat, I see that a few other guys have already mentioned this. And the snow down here, and this is funny, I got a bunch of friends up north that are making fun of me about this, but when it snows in Georgia, we all freak out and lose our minds, and we absolutely have no idea what to do with it. So unfortunately, this ice and snow that is almost gone, but still hanging around in a few spots, is causing some delays. So I am sure, Joseph, that's what's going on with your package, but they do in fact have it. And hopefully this page will be updated very soon. And anybody else that happens to be in the same boat, that's kind of what happens. So it goes from Ringgold to Chattanooga, and then from there on to whatever distribution center you guys are most close to. So now you know. I wanted to scroll through here real quick and say hello to everybody. I'll do it quick. Lawn Care, good to see you. And Roberto, and I'm excited about the paint tonight. Lawn Care mentioned it, and Roberto mentioned it. This paint, it is made in the USA. So kind of proud of that. And I'm excited to show it to you here in just a few moments. Good to see you tonight, Elias and Wayne and Mark. And David's coming to us from Central Florida. Good to see you guys. And David, I'm excited to see this Baleo that you're working on. I hope you get it finished up and send us pictures for perhaps one of the future show and tells. Very excited to see that. And Dave's plastic model. excuse me, model review, paint cost. We'll get into all that here in a little while after I show you guys what we've got going on. Rex, hello to you, and Danny, good to see you tonight, buddy. Got a couple of your kits in the show and tell for here in just a little while. Good to see you tonight, Randy, and Ken's with us from Philly. Let's see. Curious what your best side cutters are, yours and Tamiya. Well, I'm a little partial to ours. I certainly love ours. Tamiya does a fine job as well. Ours are very similar to Tamiya as far as being a single-sided guillotine style cutter. But they're really nice. We've got three styles. This yellow handle one is our middle of the road. This is what gets used most often on my workbench. And then we've got a black handled one that's more of a high precision cutter. So nice stuff. You should give them a try. Give me a call sometime at the shop or drop me an email and I'll be happy to give you a little bit more information on those. Good to see you tonight, Derek. And Jason, good to see you, my friend. A lot of you guys, like Jason and whatnot, kind of bummed not getting to see you this past weekend in Chattanooga at the IPMS show. However, they have rescheduled the IPMS show in Chattanooga. And if I remember my date correctly, it's going to be June 13th and 14th. That should be a Friday and a Saturday. So a little bit further out than I was expecting, but going to be a great show nonetheless. So mark your calendars. June 13th and 14th will be the rescheduled date for the Chattanooga IPMS show. And Jason and the rest of you guys, the good thing is we've got more time to get models ready for the show now, several months, in fact. So I'm excited to see you guys. Perhaps I'll see you at some of the other shows before then, but looking forward to Chattanooga. Glad they were able to get that rescheduled. And speaking of the IPMS Club in Chattanooga, this coming Monday, the 20th, January 20th at 6 o'clock, the Squadron shop here in Ringgold will be open for the first time at 6 o'clock. And this opening is going to be specifically to host the IPMS Chattanooga scale modelers. So they're going to have their first club meeting at our shop at Squadron, and the entire facility will be open to the club. So if you have been wondering what is an IPMS club all about, if you've never been a part of a model club, if you're looking for model friends that like building these little crazy things like we do so much, and you're in the area, come check out Squadron for the IPMS Chattanooga Model Club meeting at 6 o'clock Monday evening, the 20th. So, and the only thing I would ask, if you would like to come, this is a bring your own chair event. We don't, really have this many people at the shop at any given time. And the people we do have at the shop are generally running around pulling models and putting them in boxes for you guys. So if you've got a lawn chair, or whatever, one of those fold-up chairs, bring it along with you so you've got somewhere to sit. And we look forward to seeing you at 6 o'clock on Monday evening. Ken, it's good to see you tonight, buddy. And Bill, good to see you. And Carlos is here. Dwayne, talking about the Old Dominion show, I see you were tagging Bill there. I wish that I could get to that show at some point, and perhaps in the future I'll be able to. It's I hear it's a great show. So, and I'm going to go ahead and say hello to everybody else because I do have a lot of things that I want to jump into tonight. I've got, last week I mentioned that we got a bunch of new models in, and we did. I mean, we finally got this 700 scale Britannic ship in from Hobby Boss. It looks like it's going to be a really nice build. We've got some trumpeter things. I always like to say things like I'm late to the party because it took us a little extra time to get some of these, but we finally got their 35th scale Hueys in. Again, looks like it's going to be a great kit. Their Fairy Battle is finally here. For you that are curious about their Barracuda, those are on our next shipment, along with the one that I'm very excited about, the 350th scale Gerald R. Ford. Those are on the way. They should be here in February. Along with a bunch of other good stuff. Last week, I said I was going to bring one of their 200 scale Olympic kits here, trumpeter, but unfortunately, it didn't fit in the car this evening along with everything else. I was not in my truck coming home, so I just didn't have room. I want to jump over here, and I know I'm flying through all this stuff. It's been so long since we've hung out like this, where we didn't really have a time limit. I just got so much that I want to show you guys tonight. So let me flip over here to the website real quick. We've got the new Phoenix Aviation Modeling Magazine here, but a lot of other cool stuff. But that's not what I wanted to show you. Let's see. Oh, this is the new hot sauce I was telling you about. This is the P47. I forgot to bring a bottle with me last week. So those are here. Very cool. We've got, there's a lot of new kits that are being, that have just been announced or recently announced. And I've got a lot of them up on the website now, not necessarily up for pre-order yet. Still trying to finalize pricing, release dates, all that fun stuff. But if you scroll over to on the website, go up to all products and pre-orders, and then click on future pre-orders. These are all the things that have been announced that are coming down the line sometime this year. Supposedly several pages of these things, but there's a lot of cool stuff. Mini Art, they have announced all of their 2025 kits. I saw in the chat, I forget who it was, but somebody in the chat asked about the next restock of fine molds. Well, we've got fine molds on the way. I don't know exactly when it's going to be here. Like I alluded to last week, towards the end of the year, all these factories are trying to finish up, get things in hands for Christmas. And then right after the first of the year, it's like, okay, time to get new product out. So this new tool Zero from Fine Molds will be coming along with a lot of their restocks. I don't have an exact date yet, but they are in the works. All of the new Mini Art stuff. Their new catalog is awesome. They've got this new RSO that's coming out, 3 different versions of that. They're going to expand on their Junkers F-13 kit. They've got a float plane version. Of course, more Stewarts. They've got more, let me go back a page here. They got more of their P-47s they're doing. And then here's one of the cool things. So last year, they did the P-47 and 48 scale, and that was kind of a new tool, new thing for them expanding into aircraft. This year, they're going to do a new tool, FW-190. So you can expect several versions of this to be coming down the line. Switching over to ICM, ICM also has recently published their 2025 catalog. Lots of excellent kits. They've got more versions of their Sikorsky. They did the Tarhe version. Now they're doing other versions of that. You had seen that they were doing the Black Hawk Down helicopters. They've got more versions of those. They are doing a Hamden this year, so this will be one of their big new tool releases. All sorts of cool stuff coming from ICM. Of course, Ming's got new kits. Amusing Hobby is going to continue expanding on their Never Was or What If or Paper Model, whatever you want to call those. So all sorts of cool stuff. And then if you can't tell by my intro soundtrack there at the end that I'm a fan of the Command & Conquer Red Alert video game series, Border Models has a new version of their Apocalypse tank coming. It's going to be very cool. I got a little video posted on that. You can look on the channel later and see it. And then this is the one I'm excited about. From the very first announcement from Border in their Red Alert series, I thought, man, they really need to do a Tesla tank. Well, now we get to do a Tesla tank in 35th scale. So just all sorts of cool stuff coming. I'm excited about them. I really hope you guys are too. And we'll just kind of have to wait and see what else comes down the line, because you know how these factories are. They hold some things they tell us about months in advance. Think Trumpeter. Trumpeter will put stuff in their catalog and it'll be months, sometimes literally years before we see it. And then sometimes all of a sudden they make an announcement about a 350 Gerald R. Ford and we have it in hand 3 months later. So you never know what these guys are doing. They tell us about things, they hold secrets. So it's an exciting time to be a modeler. That's what we like to say around here a lot of times. And it's a very, very true thing. So I think, one last thing or two things I want to show you. You guys have been asking me about the X Plus Red Sonja kit, 1/8 scale Red Sonja kit, and they are finally done. They've had production delays on it. They had to go back and fix things, but they're finally done. And I've actually got one of them here now. So this is one of the sprues, the face and the body and whatnot. I got all of them here. So I'm supposed to be test building this and seeing what it looks like. This time they actually sent me instructions with the test build. So I don't have to guess. Not that it would be that terribly hard, but it is nice to have the instructions. And these are finally going on a container that should, fingers crossed, be here probably the end of February, perhaps the 1st of March, somewhere in that ballpark. You know how it is with shipping, but they're finally done and they're finally on the way. And then finally, before we jump into this paint and then onto the show and tell, the paint, as you'll see in a few moments, is we really like this this color scheme for Squadron that we've been going with, this black and this red and whatnot. And we are in the process of updating all of our tools. So adding a line of paints to our Squadron products family is a great addition to our tools. But for the longest time, Squadron has always been sort of known, I guess you can say, for having Squadron tools. And but in my opinion, the packaging is outdated. In some cases, the tools themselves are outdated. That's why we've updated and gone to these new style of cutters. And but this is our new version of one of the more popular Squadron tools called the Seam Scraper. And the packaging is just kind of a little bit nicer. I like it. And then the tools, we're just trying to update these a little bit. Got a little branding on there. I like the black and the silver and the chrome. So this is the new version of the Seam Scraper. We're kind of excited about it. It just really looks nicer sitting on a retail shelf, and a lot of hobby stores buy these to put in their store. So we, of course, want them to look as good as they possibly can. So excited about that. And yeah, so let me look over here in the chat real quick, make sure we don't have any other fun little subjects to hit on before we move on. Jason's talking about the Airfix range. Yeah, the Airfix has got some exciting things coming up that we'll be posting up for pre-order, hopefully in the next week or two. A new version of their 72 scale B24 is coming. That's going to be awesome. They're doing the Artemis. They're doing, I think, a space shuttle and a Saturn V. All sorts of cool stuff. Some new aircraft, and lots of cool stuff coming from Airfix. So those will be coming down the line soon. Let's see. And yeah, Tom, the B24 is the D model from Airfix. That is correct. All right. Well, guys, I am going to move on and go ahead and let the cat out of the bag on our paint. So, a little intro to the paint. If you have caught our show the last several weeks, we've been talking about a paint. This is an acrylic paint. It is airbrush ready, and we've got a little video that we'll show you here shortly of something we painted at the shop today. Just real quick, just showing you how easy it is to use this paint. But it is an acrylic airbrush ready paint. And like I've said in past weeks, this is it's not a new product. This product has actually already been on the market for the past 8 years. And the funny thing is, several of you have already guessed what this is. And I reached out to you, and you're the winner. You guessed. But some of you perhaps know this brand of paint already. Perhaps some of you have not. And if you have not, I hope that you will give it a shot. It's not for everybody. We're still going to continue to carry and sell Tamiya paint, Vallejo paint, ICM paint, and then fourth and finally our own paint. So that there's a lot of different options on the market. So this may not be for everybody, but I would ask for you to at least give it a shot, see what you think. if it doesn't work for you, that's fine. At least you tried it. But if you're like me, perhaps you'll fall in love with it, because when I started using it, painting my models became fun to me again. I was not fighting the airbrush like I used to, trying to get things to work right, and so it's pretty neat. I like it, and I hope you will too. So, without further ado, let me show you what Squadron's latest acquisition is. Here we go. So, if you know Scale Colors and the name Jeff Hearn, he is the guy that started Scale Colors, and here he is sitting next to me. And here you go, put that on. Welcome to Squadron. Jeff is our newest employee down here at Squadron, and
I got something for you.
oh, you got something for me? What do you got?
Dr. Motorstein sent these with regards.
Of course, some pickles. All right, well,
They're from his dog.
okay, his dog, Pickles.
Yes.
As you guys can tell, we've been having too much fun the last few weeks with Dr. Modelstein. So thank you for the pickles. And in fact, we'll have to dig into these later. So,
There you go.
So Jeff Hearn is the guy that started Scale Colors, what, 8 years ago?
Yeah.
8 years ago. And we have taken it. The Scale Colors will now be referred to as Squadron Scale Colors. And this is what the new packaging is going to look like. Well, I say packaging. I guess it's new bottles, I guess.
New bottles, new label, new look.
Yeah, new look, new logos. A lot of the same colors. If I remember correctly, you were up to somewhere in the ballpark of what, 150 colors?
Yeah, about 150. Yeah, different SKUs.
Yeah, about 150 thereabout. Back when you started, I mean, you've gone through several iterations of bottles. You started out with what, 1 ounce glass bottles. You went to plastic bottles. Most recently, I think you went to 1/2 ounce bottles.
Yeah. We well, I say we. I have always said I've been a one-man, two-dog operation, and the dogs tend to not work. So it's pretty much been on me. But I started out with glass bottles, and I found that shipping them out of Wisconsin in the wintertime caused a lot of problems, and we had a lot of exploded paint packages that were delivered. So we switched to the plastic bottles in 1 ounce, and then COVID hit, and couldn't get plastic bottles because everyone was using them for hand sanitizer.
Okay.
So we had to get creative, and then eventually what I started to learn was that guys were buying 1 ounce bottles of paint and using them for 2 years.
Right.
And when you're building 700 scale or even 350 scale, 1 ounce of paint goes an awfully long way.
Sure.
And what I was running into was, I was constantly filling bottles and sending people more paint than they needed. So we lowered the price and put it in a 1/2 ounce bottle, and
Yep.
And things just skyrocketed.
Well, in 1/2 ounce bottles, all the paint companies have different size. To me, for example, they've got their 10 milliliter bottles, which is just under 1/2 ounce.
Right.
And then they've got their large size, which is not quite 1 ounce. Vallejo, AK Interactive, Ammo by MIG, some of these other larger companies that we all know and love, they, perhaps we could say, standardized what a paint bottle is supposed to look like, or at least when we see that, we recognize it. And that's what these are. These are the same size bottles. So if you guys are wondering, well, how big is that bottle? That's a picture. It's the same bottle. And you open it up, it's got the little squeeze cap on the top. Yeah, there we go, if it'll focus.
Yep.
And so it's very, very familiar. When you get this in your hand, if I can get my camera to focus. Come on, camera. It's not going to focus, is it?
Doesn't like you.
Nope. Oh, there we go. So you'll have a very familiar feeling when you get this bottle. But the bottle is fun. The label is fun. I really enjoy coming up with this stuff. I did the catalog layout, so I enjoy this part of it.
Yeah.
But that's not really where the magic is for this. This is all fun. It looks nice on the bench. It's going to look great in the hobby shops. We've got a retail rack that there we go. There's our retail rack that we are in the process of finishing off. So, it's going to look great, right? But let's talk about what's in the bottle, because that's really what these guys are interested in. And already looking over here, seeing what you guys are saying. Chris Richter says he's been using the paint since you started it.
Yep.
Some of you guys that guessed what we had going on, Ed Grun, for example, Ed guessed a few weeks ago. So a lot of you guys have already been using this, but for the ones who do not know, tell us about what's in the bottle. I've been telling everybody it's airbrush ready. I've been telling everybody the colors are accurate. And just so you guys know, if you go over to squadron.com right now, I just unhid it. If you go to the weekly releases, January 13th, here they all are.
There it is.
So price is going to be $3.25 for a bottle. And this is not, that's only one page. You got 4 pages of them. This is not all of the colors that we've got. This is round one. Jeff, and by the way, just so you guys that know Jeff and perhaps are friends with Jeff back home in Wisconsin, he has not moved to Georgia.
No.
He still lives in Wisconsin. Jeff is going to be our kind of one of our in-house designers. He does a lot of 3D stuff. Some of you guys might know him for his 3D tracks. These are also part of the Squadron family now. We'll get into that later. Right now we're talking about paint. But he still lives in Wisconsin. However, for the last couple of weeks, he has taken up a temporary residency in Georgia, and he brought the snow with him.
Yeah, and I think the entire state of Georgia is mad at me for bringing ice and snow and sub-zero weather.
Yeah, the snow literally followed him here.
Yeah.
It got here, what, like 8 hours after you got here?
Yeah.
So anyway, this is what we are referring to as round one. Right now, we currently have expanded on Jeff's original color line, I guess we'll say.
Yep.
And this is our work in progress. This is the current paint rack. So here you see this is the artwork for the paint chips in that slide. And guys, keep in mind that what you're looking at here is on a computer screen, and these are just a representation of the color. So don't take these little color swatches to heart. If it's a shade of gray, this is a very close, this is a dark gray, this is a light gray. This is not exact. What's in the bottle is exact, and we'll get into that later. But this gives you an idea. There are currently 182 colors plus 14 down at the bottom row, clear coats, primers, washes, those sort of things. And then as soon these future colors here, we have those planned, but we're still working on color matching. And as soon as we get all of that done, we will have a full 220 colors in our base lineup, as I think we're calling it.
Yeah.
But that's kind of the plan. And Jeff, kind of take us through. I've got some pictures here of some models that I think you built these models.
Yeah.
And these feature your paint. Now our paint. So tell us, what are we looking at? Tell us what the magic in the bottle is and why these guys need to give this a shot.
Well, I have to blame Trumpeter in a good way, because I got one of their 1/200 scale Missouris and suddenly realized that I didn't have a large enough volume of paint to paint a model that big. And a friend of mine who sadly is no longer with us came up with this idea, and he said, well, who better than you to start a paint company? So I got in touch with some friends of mine who were in the business, and lo and behold, we started a paint company. The result of the paint, the research, the accuracy, and the colors. For those of you who are in the ship model world, there are a very small group of individuals who possess vast amounts of knowledge and information pertaining to ship colors. It's not just the ubiquitous battleship gray. Every nation had a series of colors that they used on their warships. And I've been in communication and with a lot of these people. You know, we can drop names. You know, Snyder and Short, and John Snyder and Randy Short, and Ron Smith, and Tracy White, and you know, a whole bunch of people who have been involved with this process, helping me along the way throughout the years. And we just decided that it was time. You know, the Tester Corporation discontinued their acrylic line and a lot of their naval colors. We opened with the first 12 colors in the series, which were the U.S. Navy 5 series colors, you know, 5L, 5S, 5N. And here we are. And I kept getting requests for newer colors and different colors, and just kept adding them to the lineup. And suddenly here we are. I'm seeing in the chat that some folks have asked where the paints are manufactured. They're manufactured right here
in the USA.
This is all new chemistry. We are not, you know, farming this out to another paint manufacturer. This is, you know, our base material is obviously manufactured by a paint company, but everything else, all of the tinting, the bottling, the processing, the reduction, that's all done in-house.
Yeah, and in fact, it's not done at the warehouse. So when you guys come to our store, come to our open houses, you're not going to see a bottling operation there. In fact, my wife, Crystal, heads up the bottling operation. We've got a separate facility from our normal model kit inventory, and she literally is mixing paint and bottling it and putting labels on it and doing all this stuff for you guys. Right now, we're kind of all over the place. It's kind of all hands on deck at the shop right now. One of our guys, John, has been going crazy the last couple of days trying to get labels on this stuff, getting ready. So, you know, everybody may be pitching in from time to time, but my wife's heading this up, and we are literally putting paint in bottles by hand for you guys. I think since you've been here, we've done what, somewhere between 5,000 and 10,000 bottles.
I think we've done about 10,000 bottles since we've been here,
and we've got it. It's all ready for you guys. So I'm looking forward to you trying it out.
And we've got another 10,000 more to go.
Oh, we got more than that, but this the bad thing is we were trying to get it all done in time to show it off at Chattanooga. So I hate that the show was canceled, but we got a reliever there because we weren't ready. But but these pictures that you've done, some of these kits that you've got, this just gives you guys an example. And I've got a little video I'll pull up in just a moment, but this just gives you an example of you know, some of the color selections that we've got. And one thing that I will make a note of right now as you're looking at this, we do not have metal colors yet.
I'm working on the chemistry.
We're working on that. He's working on that. That'll be coming down the line at some point soon. And everything that he did here, and correct me if I'm wrong, Jeff, but all this stuff is freehand. And it's just really nice.
I did use masking tape for the red.
Well, sure. Well,
I'm not that good.
No. I'm talking about, you know, this kind of stuff here.
All the soft edges are done.
Hard edges obviously are masked.
As Ron mentioned in the chat, you know, Ron's been using my paint for a while now. When you lower the pressure, you know, down to 12, I recommend 18 to 20 psi if you're doing a single broad coat. But when you're getting into soft demarcation lines and things like that, you drop the pressure down a little bit, and the paint can do some really amazing things. And as someone mentioned, you know, thank you, Dennis. This is all my work. I am amazed every single day when modelers send me photos of their work, and they're doing things with my paint that I'm not capable of doing. And that's really, I'm kind of vicariously living through my customer base, because I don't get a whole lot of time at the bench myself anymore. But all the models that you're seeing here are done obviously with scale colors, the Asuka Firefly.
And forgive me for the quality on some of these pictures. I took these pictures about 10 minutes before we left the shop today, and the lighting was poor.
We have been running at 1,000 miles an hour for the last 2 weeks. But this is Scale Colors SCC 15, British olive green. It was a 1944-45 color. And you know, he lightened it with a little bit of khaki to kind of do the modulation and vary the tones a little bit. And I'll say this tank also features SC3D tracks.
Yep.
In fact, I believe, yeah, those are T74s. So
Yep.
right there.
Now, one thing, we'll take a little side note and get right back to the paint, but the SC3D tracks that some of you guys know and love, these, when we get these ready to start selling at Squadron, I believe these are going to be simply called Squadron tracks.
Yep.
So they will be slightly rebranded. We're working on this whole overall, Squadron family of products. We got Squadron canopies, Squadron tools, Squadron this, Squadron that, and so these will be rebranded to Squadron tracks. But of course, they will carry the legacy of SC3D logo on the packaging. One thing I see a lot of questions over here, and we'll jump into those real quick before I move on to some of these other pictures that I want to show of these. And then, of course, we still do have your guys' show and tell coming up later. But one thing that you can do, if you go to the website, pull up one of these paints, this will answer a lot of your questions right out of the gate. Airbrush ready. Absolutely. And as you'll see in just a moment in this video, literally open the cap, pour them in your airbrush, and go. Thinning, not required. We do that out of the bottle for you. We do sell a thinner. And a lot of guys may wonder, well, if you don't need to thin it, why do you sell a thinner? So why do we need a thinner, Jeff?
Well, if we harken back to the Sherman Firefly, you'll notice when you look at the sides of the tank that there's tonal variations in the paint. If you, what I like to say, spray bomb, if you hit it with one solid coat of paint, you're not going to be able to get those subtle variations in the tonal quality. So you thin the paint down, you put your base coat down, then you either lighten or darken your colors, pre-shading, post-shading. You thin the paint down and you put a thinner layer of opaque paint over the top in strategic areas to replicate those tonal variations. That's ideally what thinning
But when you do that, you can't run at your normal 20 psi, right?
No, you got, as Ron said, you have to lower your psi down from anywhere from 12 to 18, and you're putting just minute amounts of paint on the model.
All right. Well, now here's the other fun thing. So changing colors. We want you guys to buy Scale Colors thinner because when you buy it, it helps us. But here's the fun part. You can use water. You can use isopropyl alcohol to clean your airbrush. When you try some of our thinner, I think you're going to find it's the most amazing smelling thinner.
I have the best. I keep saying,
hey,
I'm sorry.
I know what you mean, buddy.
We have the best smelling thinner on the market.
It literally smells like cherries. Yep. So I think you guys are going to like it. But
and that's the flow control agent, by the way.
Exactly. Yes. So, and as you see here in my next bullet point, call it flow control, call it flow improver, call it tip dry, whatever you want to call it. You don't have to add any of that because we do that for you.
Right.
It's mixed right into the paint. Brush painting. A lot of guys that have already figured out what was going on asked me about brush painting. So just like I don't know, maybe let's use Tamiya paint as an example. You can use a brush to do little touch-ups, perhaps to paint little rivet heads or whatever. But just like a Tamiya paint, you're not, or any other airbrush paint, you probably don't want to use it to paint an entire side of a hull or something. No. It's just not made for that. So the best results you're going to get are with an airbrush. Talking about hazard warnings and how does it smell, all that. Obviously we are always going to recommend respirators, paint booths, good ventilation and all that stuff. But I think what you're going to find is that this is very, very low odor. I mean, I think you told me kind of one of the requirements when you were making the paint had to do with perhaps your wife not liking the smell of traditional paints in the house.
Actually, she's asthmatic.
Okay.
And I would spray even Tamiya paint, which as modelers, we don't even think twice about spraying Tamiya paint. I would spray Tamiya paint using Tamiya thinner, and she could be on the third floor. I'm in the basement, second floor of the house. She immediately knew when I was spraying. And now, because the only smell that you get off the paint is actually isopropyl alcohol, everyone's used to it. So, I'm never going to say that it's non-toxic. because everything is toxic, especially if you live in the state of California. But
That's true.
that was a little joke.
Well,
But
there you go.
you know, it certainly doesn't have the impact of, say, for example, the old Flocal line.
Right.
You know, you would open that bottle up, and it was, in its day, it was great paint, but it instantly gave you a headache.
Right.
And you know, it's yeah, that
Now,
was one of the reasons that we developed the paint.
Now, one thing that we have here in the hazard, we know, we say that the material data safety sheets are available at scalecolors.com. You may try to go to scalecolors.com. We are in the process of revamping that website, making a new one. And for any of you guys that happen to have noticed the Scale Colors website crashing a few weeks ago, that was actually not intentional.
No.
The timing worked out, but we were not planning on that happening. It just, something happened with the server, and we said, well, might as well go ahead and flip it over now. So, but that Scale Colors website will be coming soon. And I saw that, where was he? It was Stuart over on Facebook asking, are we going to have the color charts available? They're not available yet, but as soon as we fill out the line, make sure everything is right in the artwork, all of that information is going to be available over at scalecolors.com. We are going to have paint sets available. I think Ed Grun mentioned earlier about the Titanic paint sets. This is what the paint sets are going to look like. Come in these little clear boxes. Most of them will be 6-packs. Some paint sets like the Titanic will be more than 6 paints. But the cool thing that is going to take us a little while to get it done, but on the scalecolors.com website, there will be digital instructions for each paint set. And those instructions will include things like paint guides. If you're a ship modeler, you'll be able to see the camo patterns, the camo schemes, all that stuff. We'll have as much information that'll help you guys paint your model the way that you want it painted, and all that'll be coming as quickly as we can get to it. Moving down the bullet points, primers. Do you have to use a primer? As you'll see in just a moment, and it was actually Jeff that painted. He painted a T-Rex. We were at the shop, and I was like, "Hey, we really need to show people how this paint comes out of an airbrush." And we're looking around, and we're like, what are we going to paint? And we had an unpainted T-Rex in the display case. So I said, how about a dinosaur? So sure.
Had thousands and thousands and thousands of model kits, and they're all shrink wrap, and we can't open them up and paint them.
So we grabbed a T-Rex, and but what you'll see in a moment is he painted this without primers. I mean, and if you guys are like me, half or more of my kits end up getting painted without primer, and this paint works wonderfully straight to the plastic. Now, disclaimer, like any paint, as we say here, Squadron Scale Colors is always going to perform better over a primer. And that's just kind of, it's just a fact. Primer always helps. But it's your choice. Prime, don't prime. It's up to you. We do offer a primer. And like I showed in
several primers.
Yeah, several primers. I don't know where my color chart went, but let's see. Here it is. If you look down at the bottom here, we've got out of the gate, we got a white primer, a skin primer, as we're calling it, which is a tan, a pink primer, and a gray primer. I forgot that one. So those are our 4 colors of primers right out of the gate. So all that'll be available. We put a few other things in here. Preparation and application. Jeff, tell us about it being pigment heavy and having to shake it, and then we'll hit the second bullet point too. Why are they weird looking in the bottle sometimes?
Right. So because the paint is formulated for airbrush only, the viscosity of the paint is considerably thinner. As a result, the carrier and the pigments separate rather quickly, more so than you would get from a bottle of Tester's enamel or Humbrol or any other color. All you have to do is shake the bottle, and I mean shake it. There you go.
You hear the BBs running around.
There are 2 stainless steel bearings inside each and every bottle. You know, so that goes an awfully long way. If you get a bottle and you see that it's marbled, and you can actually see like little veins of color and
2 different colors.
Yeah. Or the bottle might be blue on the top and gray on the bottom. You shake it up and you're good to go. I've had questions about longevity and shelf life. I still have colors from our development run Because let's face it, I mean, some colors you burn through 20B deck blue on a monthly basis, and then other colors you sit on them forever, because you're not building, Italian warships every single time you build a model. So you sit on some of those colors, but I've had colors that are 4 or 5 years old. You shake them up and they're good to go.
Yep. Yep. And I think we hit on that down here at the bottom too, talking about shelf life.
Yep.
And all right, so here we go.
Yep.
Initial color versus final color, gloss or flat. Kind of take us through your thought process on the finish and what happens when you paint.
This paint has a chemical polymer in it. It think of it like the coatings on an M&M. It actually has to chemically cure. So as a result, the color that you see in the bottle is not what you get on the model after it's cured. So you might look at a color of, say for example, Hull Red. Do we have Hull Red?
In that drawer over there.
In that drawer.
That's 65.
Yep. So you look at a bottle of Norfolk 65 and it has a very distinct purple hue to it. And it goes on the model and it's wet and you look at it and you say, this isn't right. But you give it about 5 or 10 minutes, the paint starts to cure, it starts to catalyze, and you get your final color. So don't be alarmed by what you're actually seeing in the bottle, because where you get it is at the end when the paint has cured and catalyzed.
Right. And don't take our word for it. Try it.
Give it a try.
Yeah, get some old sprues or old kits that you don't care about and try the paint. I see a lot of people asking some of these questions that that we've covered, but we'll hit them again because it's not a problem. Best PSI to spray at 18 to 20 PSI. Dry time, like he was just starting to hit on. I think on the bullet points here, we say less than 15 minutes. They're dry to the touch. Give it a day, 24 hours. It's completely dry.
Yep.
So let's talk about the finish, because that's going to be one of the first things that some of these guys notice. We don't have flat black and gloss black. We just have black. So why is that?
Right. Well, when you look at the process of model building, guys would buy a flat paint, spray the model, then they put a gloss coat down, put their decals down and do their washes and all of that stuff. And then when that's all done, then they put another flat coat over the top of it. I decided to formulate the paint so that you could put decals and washes right over the top of the paint and then just put a single flat coat over the top, or a semi-gloss or a gloss coat, depending on what your requirements are.
As we keep talking, I'm going to go ahead and throw this up. So here you go. Here you see Jeff dumping the paint straight into the airbrush. And he's going to proceed to...
And that's an unpainted model. That's the color.
Yeah, that's
just a basic plastic. This is a Japanese aircraft carrier hull green. So it's not historically accurate for T-Rexes, but the beauty of doing dinosaurs and sci-fi is you just pick whatever color looks good.
Yeah.
I did only paint one half of the model because we were in a bit of a time crunch.
Yeah, this was mostly just to give you guys an idea of the paint coming out of the airbrush.
And what you're noticing here is that you're not getting a mushroom cloud of color. You're in fact, you're not even really seeing. You're seeing the paint actually hit the model, but you're not seeing this massive cloud of paint coming out of the model. And as you can see, I'm doing the stripes, the green stripes on the tail.
And we'll change, or he will change colors here in just a moment. But it's really, for me, when I started using the paint, it really made it kind of fun to paint again. But so Jeff, going back to your process of modeling, so traditionally speaking, especially if you're gonna use decals with a model, you're gonna paint your model, and then you're gonna put some gloss coat on the model so you can put your decals on it, and then you're gonna put your flat coat on top of it because the end result needs to be flat, right?
Correct. And what modelers often fail to realize is that when you put a gloss coat over a flat, you're changing the color. you're altering the reflectivity and the reflectance of the color. So you're actually going to darken the color by putting a gloss coat on it, and then you're going to put a flat coat on it, which refracts light, and that again will alter the color. So even if you're looking for that ultra accurate historic color, with a gloss coat and a flat coat, one doesn't always offset the other.
Yep. So having said all that, what is this paint straight out of the bottle? It's a semi-gloss,
It's
right?
a semi-gloss.
It's a semi-gloss.
Yep.
And the thought behind that being, you take those steps out.
One of the things that we have all done and we've all built models, and then when we finish, we realize that the paint is really, really heavy.
Right.
And what I'm trying to accomplish and what we're trying to accomplish moving forward is to minimize the amount of paint that we actually put on the model, so that all of that detail, kind of shows through.
Right.
Things like panel lines, the texture on that T-Rex, a single coat of paint altering the contrast of the T-Rex, it really made it pop out. It surprised even me.
Right. Well, it's neat. So that was another thing that was kind of cool. Just the whole process that you got. I mean, the ease of use, as you could see. Let me pull this back up. Let's see. Where'd you go? Yeah, a simple, water between colors. Squirt the next color in the airbrush, and you're ready to go. And then after, clean it out with water. Maybe throw some thinner in there if you're going to pack it up for the night. It's just the whole process is easy. And then going back to the paints being semi-gloss, after the paint dries, I get to put my decals on. Correct. I don't have to gloss it first, because I'm going to use a flat coat at the end anyway, if, assuming I'm doing something that needs to be a matte. So, that's
I'm really happy to see, many of my customers, my former customers, in the room. I think they kind of knew that this was coming. There are just so many things that you can think of when you're developing this paint, and it's really good to see the customers kind of chiming in, saying, yeah, it holds up. Drew made a perfect, it holds up well, with microsol and microset. As this paint chemically cures and hardens, the paint becomes more and more resilient.
Right.
If you put that paint down and you decide, okay, I messed it up, I want to remove it, within an hour or two of putting the paint down, a Q-tip with some isopropyl alcohol, and you can actually feather that paint right off. 48 hours later, you're going to have to sand the paint off. It sprays like an acrylic, but it dries hard like an enamel.
Right.
And this thing started the whole mess right here. Yep. This is the model that is responsible for all of the scale colors, armor colors, and SC 3D tracks.
Yep. And I'll just flip through these real quick as we keep going. You can.
Yeah, that's exterior primer red and German Dunkelgelb. So all of the models that you'll see as he moves forward, these are all colors that are available. The French tank, we don't have French armor colors yet, but this was a khaki mixed with German Dunkelgelb and olive green.
But remember, all of our future colors, we got all sorts of cool stuff coming up.
Lots of room for future colors.
I got a couple of questions over here in the chat. Jeff, I'm going to look for the next question while you talk about, I don't know, you want to talk about this one for a second before we get to the big one you want to talk about?
Again, Russian aircraft colors, these are things. And one of the things that we have to remember with historically accurate colors, a lot of it can be subjective. So we don't have World War II Russian aircraft colors yet, but you know what? There's colors in our line that can be used. You can mix these colors. So if you see a gray color and you say, you know what, it's just a little too light, then you add a drop of dark gray to it, or you can add a drop. You can mix these colors to adjust to whatever your specific needs are if we don't have that historically accurate color.
Now, talking about mixing colors, Chris Decker's asking, does this work with any other paint brands?
I would not mix scale colors with any other brand of paint because of the chemistry involved.
Yeah, what you guys will find out when you use it, and you guys that have already been using this paint is like nothing else. At least nothing else that I've ever used for building my models. So you just got to try it, and you'll see. Now, Tom, you're asking when can these paints be ordered? They can be ordered right now. They're on the website for sale. They're $3.25 a piece. I saw somewhere in here somebody asked when paint sets are going to be available. Soon.
As soon as we build them.
Yeah, hopefully, starting, sometime in February or March, we intend to have our entire line of 200 or 182, between 182 and 220 colors ready. And then after we get all of the colors done, the paint sets will start coming down the line as well.
Now, to give you an idea with regards to paint sets, obviously there's a U.S. Navy World War II paint set that has all your 5 series, 5N, 5O, 5H, 5L, 5P. There's a German Navy set. So if you're doing Bismarck, Tirpitz, Scharnhorst, Gneisenau, Prinz Eugen, there's a German paint set that's available. We do have aircraft paint sets for the Vietnam era stuff that comes in a 4-pack that has for the tricolor scheme. Do we talk about round 2? Yeah, we can talk about round 2. We have in process right now, all the research development has been done, but we're introducing, I think it's 14 or 15 new federal standard colors.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about now. Yeah, they're here on the list, right there in the middle.
14 or 15 new federal standard colors specifically for modern U.S. Air Force, U.S. Navy, U.S. Marine Corps aircraft.
Now, a little while ago in the chat, I saw somebody asking if we had an FS color conversion chart. So for those of us who don't know, and I didn't know, Jeff has taught me more about paint than I ever thought I'd know in my life. But tell us, obviously FS colors were not a thing in World War II. So kind of break down for us how this works.
The FS of the World War II era was the 1929 Munsell Book of Color. And it was literally just a giant book full of color chips with specific designations. The color standard changed in the 1950s and 70s, I believe, multiple times. The system is still in operation, but the colored standards from 1929 are not the same color standards that you would get today. So if you plug in that Munsell value for a specific color, you're not going to get the historic color that was referenced in the 1929 Munsell Book of Color. That kind of set the foundation for all of the U.S. Navy, Royal Navy, German, and then the German had their own standards with the RAL system. Those colors haven't changed. So RAL 7000 from 1941 is the same RAL 7000 as it is today. Because it was a German system and there were certain colors that were associated with certain historical entities, RAL removed a lot of those colors from their chip charts at the end of the war. So a lot of those historic colors that are referenced are no longer available in the RAL standard unless you can find either a wartime or a pre-war RAL fan deck book, which are even more rare than the 1929 Munsell Book of Color. So when someone asks for federal standard, you're specifically asking for colors from a modern time, a post-World War II period. I can't give you a federal standard number for U.S. Navy 5H Haze Gray because the color doesn't exist in the federal standard system. So you got to kind of do a little research. And again, as I alluded to before, Snyder and Short and myself and Jim Azelton, Ron Smith, Tracy White, Martin Quinn, a lot of the names that are common in the ship model world. These guys have been doing historical research for decades to come up with these colors, and we bounce ideas and data off each other, in 100 different directions. We've been doing that for decades. So the colors that you're getting, if you get World War II 5H haze gray, that's the color of World War II 5H haze gray. And I'm sorry, I can't give you a 595 federal standard number for it because one doesn't exist.
Now, all this information, this is what we're going to have available at scalecolors.com.
Yeah, the website, the Scale Colors website that everyone has ordered paint from in the past is now going to become an informational website. And what we're hoping that we can do is take all of this nebulous knowledge and information and compile it into some form of a database structure so that you can go in and say, I want to build a model of USS Fletcher in 1944. What camouflage scheme was she wearing and what colors do I need to paint her? And then we will link those to the appropriate Scale Colors products that you can then acquire to do the model.
Now, what some of these guys are going to see as we start pushing out all of these paint sets is you're going to see a massive amount of paint sets, and you might ask yourself, why in the world are they doing so many different paint sets that are seemingly the same colors? A lot of us here in this chat room tonight, we kind of know what measure this needs to be or what color that needs to be. But let's just say that you're not a ship modeler.
Okay.
What ship did your uncle serve on?
USS Oman.
Okay. Is there a model kit of that?
No.
So if you're not a ship modeler, you don't know what Tamiya is,
Right.
or you don't know what Trumpeter is in 200 scale, you can't build your uncle's ship.
Correct.
We're going to fix that problem, and the way we're going to fix that problem is we're going to have a paint set for that ship that shows you the colors you need, and not only the colors you need and the camo pattern you need to paint that with, but we're also going to show you this 350th scale kit from Tamiya is how you achieve your uncle's ship.
Right.
Now, we in here know that sometimes that may not be an exact science, but for the non-model builder that simply wants to have their uncle or their grandpa or their father's ship or whatever it was, their aircraft that they flew in, their tank that they served in, whatever the case may be, there are ways that we know how to get to whatever specific subject that we want to do, and we're going to do that and help others get into the hobby and build the kits that they need to build, and we're going to do that through these paint sets.
Right.
Because after generating these paint sets on squadron.com, on the Scale Colors website, you come to our website and search for your uncle's ship, you're going to find it. Right now, you go to Squadron or any other modeling website, you're not going to find that.
Right.
But through this way of doing it, you'll be able to build your family member's ship. Because, I mean, let's face it, when these trumpeters doing this new 200 scale Fletcher, they're doing 3 versions. Well, if your family did not serve on Fletcher, Sullivan's, or Stevens, you're out of luck.
Unless you knew
exactly
that it was a Fletcher class.
Exactly. And we're going to help you guys, help everybody else with this. And we're going to do it through paints, because a lot of times the main difference in these is a hull number and a paint scheme.
Yep.
So it'll be neat. Now, I'm going to scroll through here and we'll try to wrap this paint thing up real quick so we can get on to the show and tell. So, Jeff, tell us a little bit about this guy. This is fun.
This was proof of concept. This is a 1/32 scale Revell of Germany Ju-88A4 that I converted into a C6 night fighter. And you paint them, you finish the model, and the model's all built, and you're ready to start putting paint down. And I got into the books and said, I got to find the most complicated, complex, ridiculous paint scheme that I could find. This was it. So this model received a coat of RLM 76 on the upper surfaces, and then I did the entire dot pattern freehand using Scale Colors RLM 74, and I did it in one evening. And there were no brush cleanings between the spots. So I did it in one sitting.
Well, it looks pretty fantastic. I like it. And of course, this is another one of those pictures that I took 10 minutes before we left the shop tonight. Yeah. So forgive my bad lighting, but
personally, I think it's one of my favorite. It's one of my personal favorites of everything in the collection.
Well, it looks really good, and you did a good job painting it. Let's see what else. Matt, as we've been talking about the color chart, they will be coming. They will be available on the website as soon as we can get that new scalecolors.com website going. Somebody was just asking about, oh, I don't see it. Somebody was asking about masking. How does this work? Masking tape is going to peel up. Give us a little info on that.
If you put primer down and your primer is cured, and I will say, as much as we'd like everyone to buy Scale Colors primer, most of us have bottles of other manufacturers' primers, and that's fine. Scale Colors will work over anyone else's primer, lacquer, enamel, or acrylic.
Yeah.
When you put Scale Colors down over a cured primer, you can mask realistically within an hour or two. If you're real gentle and like I use yellow sticky notes to mask.
Right.
Low tack. I put down very light coats of paint. I especially use it around panel lines to accentuate panel lines and things of that nature. I'm putting sticky notes on paint that I sprayed 15, 20 minutes previously. You can do full on duct tape masking within 24 hours. I don't recommend it, but
But again, don't take our word for it.
Yeah.
Grab a bottle, test it, because everybody's workflow is going to be slightly different. So give it a shot. See what works best for you.
And it will require, like anything else, a new product. It requires a change in your workflow. It requires adapting to the product. I've had modeling friends who refuse to use my paint because it doesn't spray like Tamiya, or it doesn't spray like Vallejo, or it doesn't spray like whatever brand they're embedded with. And then I have other guys, friends of mine, who have brought plastic tubs of 5 different paint manufacturers to the model club meeting and said, take it. I'm using Scale Colors exclusively now. And I know there's several that are in the chat that have completely gotten rid of everything. Tamiya, Vallejo, AK, Floqual. The only thing that I've tried to convince them to keep is their metallic colors, because we're working on it, but metallic colors and acrylics are finicky. So we want to make sure we get it right.
We want to get it right first.
We want to make sure we get it right.
But we'll get it. I'm very excited about this. As I mentioned before, we're in the process of completely revamping the entire Squadron tools and Squadron family of products. And for years, 30, 40 years and longer, Squadron's always been known for their tools. They've never had a paint line, and now we do. So we're going to expand on that. We're going to expand on the tools. And Bryant, good to see you tonight. I did see your question, and of course you would be the one that noticed that in the video. But yes, we are working on our own OEM airbrush, a Squadron airbrush. The name of the airbrush is the Squadron Eagle. I got the Squadron branding all over it. It's going to be a part of, I've mentioned the tools. Everything is new. We're working on all that. That video was not supposed to be an airbrush promo video, but we got our own paints. We're going to use our own airbrushes to test the paints. But obviously, these paints work well in any airbrush. That works good.
That T-Rex the paint was sprayed out of the bottle, which you saw in the video, and that's running through a 0.2 millimeter tip. So it's a fine tip brush.
But more information on that down the road. That was not really planned to be mentioned tonight. Let's see. Yeah, we talked about Brian. Oh, there it is. Brian was the one asking about the masking tape. So microsol, microset, all that stuff. And if any of you guys are worried about masking tape, perhaps you got a home run grand slam winner of a model kit, and you don't want to risk, just wait a day, and then you don't have to worry about anything with the masking tape. So let's see. And Corky talking about you need a glossy finish, semi-gloss out of the bottle, but our clear coats that we'll have, and we don't have these bottled up yet, but we will soon. We've got a flat coat, a semi-gloss coat, and a full-on gloss coat that'll be ready as a final finish. So Yeah, Robert says also scale effect colors. Yeah, again, you guys are just going to have to try it and see. We do have one color. This one's kind of fun. Oh, I didn't bring it with me. This is boot top black. We've got one color that is literally called scale black, and so you can imagine what that one's for. We've got an additional color. A lot of people like using tire black for your scale black, and we've got a tire black too that's a little bit different. So all sorts of cool stuff. But really, what this is when and I alluded to this last week, when you flip through your model book and it says use this color, 30% of this, 70% of that. We don't want that. So here we go. This one is IJN Aircraft Carrier Whole Green number 2. We're going to be very, very specific. And really, it's if he needs it or if I need it, you're probably going to find it. Oh, okay. One of our next releases that'll be coming in a few weeks. It won't be soon. This release round 1, but in release round 2, this is going to be a very, very fun color. So if you were going to build a USS Juno kit, what color might we need, Jeff?
Actually, I'm going to give a shout out where shout outs are due. This was, and he's in the chat, so everyone needs to give him a round of applause and a thumbs up. Ron Smith discovered that Juno and pretty much verified that Juno was painted in Mountbatten pink at the time of her loss. And you know, everyone is used to seeing ships in gray, blues, light grays, dazzle patterns, things of that nature. And if you go online and you actually look at Paul Allen's recovery or discovery of the wreck of Juno, you will actually still see traces of the Mountbatten pink paint. So yes, she was painted in a dark pink color. Do we have that model?
No. If you we'll show it later, but it'll be cool. Yeah, he sent it, but I didn't cue it up in
now.
The show,
it's not pink in the sense that, you know, we're all thinking like rose petal pink. It
looks like the sunset on the horizon over the ocean.
Well, and the history behind that is Lord Mountbatten, who was a British Royal Navy destroyer commander, loved to make attacks on the Germans in the early morning hours at sunrise and in the evening at sunset, when the sun was very low in the sky and everything had that really dark, deep, and it's difficult to make out distances and things of that nature. And he painted his ships that color and had amazing success with it. And the United States Navy adopted it. Ron can probably elaborate on the use of Mountbatten pink, but it was something that, you know, it was kind of neat.
So it's you know, we'll see how it goes. And Arnell is asking here, will you do specific colors like Blue Angel blue and yellow? You know, the sky is the limit really on what we can do. We've got a specific set of 220 colors that we want to finish and offer you guys and see how it goes. After the original 250 or the initial 220, after the initial 220, we do intend to figure out our metal colors. But after that, you know, the sky's the limit. We can really do anything. It's just a matter of what makes the most sense for us. So we'll see how it goes, and we'll plan accordingly. Now, Rick is asking, is this paint going to be distributed through local hobby shops? Yes. So as you guys have heard me talk about many times, my dad, Russ, he runs and operates and owns MMD, Military Model Distributors. So my wife Crystal is making this paint for us, and she is funneling it through MMD. So even though it's a Squadron branded product, everybody has access through it or to it through MMD. And if you are a dealer or if you have a local hobby shop that you would like them to stock the paint, have them head over to mmdmodels.com if they have not already, and set up an account over there and
show them that retail rack.
Yeah, it'll be awesome. I mean,
it's really kind of cool.
Let's see. Yeah, that's what it'll look like.
That's the start of the retail rack.
Yeah, we've got, I think I think he has already got a couple of stores on board that's going to be carrying it. So, yeah, this is what it would look like. And hopefully your local hobby shop will pick it up, Rick, because, obviously I love it when you guys shop at squadron.com, but I'm also a big fan of the local hobby shop. That's why we're opening our own little Squadron hobby shop here in Ringgold starting in February, which, by the way, I moved that date to February, not January, because we're almost there.
We've been a little busy.
Yeah, we have. But I'm a big fan of the local hobby shop too. And so all of the Squadron products are available to the local hobby shop. So let's see.
Oh, my daughter signed in. Hi, Kate.
Oh, there you go.
My soon-to-be Dr. Caitlin.
There you go. Hey, Kate. Yep. Nice to see you tonight.
Checking in from Eastern Virginia Medical School. Congratulations. Ed Groon. Yeah, we can't say that on air. But that's what they said. That's what they called it in the Navy.
Yeah.
So
yeah, we probably won't name our color that. But
no, we'd get in trouble with our wives.
All right. So, Stephen, let me touch on this. So, yes, we have Starship colors planned. We've got this entire series, SC. Well, it's not supposed to be SCN. Yeah, that's a mess up.
F.
Yeah, SCF. So the entire sci-fi series of colors, those first, I think the first 12 colors, those 12 colors will be the one of the USS Enterprise paint sets. And then beyond that, we've got the monster series. So we want to do colors that'll work good for good old classic monsters and horror stuff. And if you look right above those, SCF 001 through 6, those are our first 6 flesh colors. And that will be available in a 6-pack of flesh colors. So we've got a lot of interesting things planned.
Those individual flesh tone colors are ready to go now.
Oh yeah, yep, those are on the website for sale now. You can see all those, and those flesh colors. Let's see, we'll pull them up, or I think we will. Let's see. These 6 colors, as not up. Yeah, you can't search for the colors on the site yet. My search system has not refreshed itself. But those 6 flesh colors are really, those are designed by my good buddy Randy Van Dyke. You guys have seen his work in here in the show and tell before. If you go to Wonderfest, you probably know Randy. He's quite well known for his figure painting, and I really like his work, so I asked him to help us come up with those colors. I said, Randy, what if you had 6 colors, what do you use? And he told me and showed me exactly what he used. So he'll be getting some of those to test out, and I look forward to showing you guys his work. But we've got a lot of good stuff planned, and I hope you guys will give it a try. And I'm looking forward to seeing what you think about it. Like I said, I won't be here next Wednesday night, but the following Wednesday night, we'll talk about paint. I'll have my airbrush set up. Jeff will has his set up back in Wisconsin. Hopefully my wife will drop in and say hello and talk a little bit about all the fun she's having bottling the bottles up. So we'll have a good time all about paint, and I hope by that point in 2 weeks, you guys will have been able to try the paint, and you can give your comments too, good, bad, or indifferent. I mean, I want to know everything, see what you guys think about it. So,
well, you're taking some time. You're taking a vacation, right?
Oh,
a little mini vacation.
Well, we'll see what we can come up with next week.
Well, I'm taking a mini vacation.
There you go.
I'm taking a few days off.
There you go. Well, Jeff, let's jump in. Guys, I appreciate you hearing us talk about paint for a little while, but one of the other things everybody's here for tonight is the show and tell. So
yeah, we got some great stuff tonight.
This will be the first time I've had a co-host for the show and tell. Yeah. So let's jump into it.
Boy, I hope I don't say anything stupid. Pretty famous for that.
I hope you don't say anything stupid either.
No,
so
I'll be good. I promise.
All right, let me put this on. I always like to do my little background music, but make sure it's not too loud. Oh, it sounds good. So let's throw this up on the screen. First up, we've got James Robinette up, and these, he says, are models from a Kriegsmarine kit made by Heller in 400 scale. That's a good old kit, and he says these are the ones he has finished so far: torpedo boat, minesweeper, and 2 Schnell boats.
Yeah.
and there are more to come. These, of course, are his the first of his couple of slides we've got here.
Heller gets a bad rap, but they did some really good kits back in the day.
They did, and they're back in business.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
hopefully we'll have those at Squadron at some point soon. But James has done a great job on these. James, I appreciate you sending these. All right, and moving on down, I got a first name. This is Gus. So Gus, and the unknown last name. I apologize if I missed it, but this is, I believe he said this was an AFV Club kit in 35th scale. Good old Vietnam gun truck.
The Matchbox.
Oh yeah, did a good job on that, Gus.
Moving ahead in the future, do folks get extra bonus points if they use scale colors on their show and tell builds? I mean, maybe we have to start giving away an airbrush or something.
There you go.
There
you go.
Yeah, motivate them a little.
We hadn't done a giveaway in a while. Maybe we should do that here at the end of the show tonight. See if we can come up with something to give away here at the end of the show and tell.
Bottle of paint.
Yeah, maybe we give away a little gift certificate so everybody can go, or whoever wins can go buy them some paint and try it.
There you go.
So we'll do that here at the end of the show and tell. Remind me, Jeff.
I'll remind you.
All right, this is Dave Blankenship. This is a 35th scale half track old Tamiya kit, he says, and second place in the Cleveland show in November. So congratulations on that.
Well done.
Looks very nice.
I got to admit, though, that figure looks like he came right out of the last week in Georgia with the weather. He just looks cold.
Yeah, unfortunately, well, if I had that kind of winter gear the last week, I wouldn't have been so cold. But I don't even own anything that warm.
I think everyone in the state of Georgia is mad at me for bringing the weather down from Wisconsin.
Oh, yeah. That's a nice job on that. I like how he did that net on the front. That's kind of...
I like
cool.
the tonal variations in the winter camouflage. It's really well done.
Good job. All right, and same builder here. This is a 35th scale Opal multi-year ambulance, and he's actually got two of these that he sent us, but this particular one he did a full interior, so that's kind of cool. And whose kit was this? Dragon. Okay, this is a Dragon kit.
Oh wow.
That's kind of neat. The top comes off so you can see all the inside. Let's see. All right, cool. And now we've got a good variety of different models tonight. And same builder here. This is 1/8 scale Nosferatu from Monarch Models. He says this is the first large scale figure he's ever done. So artist oils, Vallejo acrylic, very nice. Third place in that same show. Pretty good for your first large scale figure. So, nice job. And here's the other ambulance I remembered seeing. And while we're going through this, if I see a question pop up that I can get to, I might do so. Benjamin asking about Edwards P40. They're on their way. And we should have them in February in time for the, it's officially supposed to be a February release, I believe. So they should arrive to us in time for that to happen, hopefully. Customs doesn't get us again.
Or if we get another snowstorm.
Yeah, there's that too. All right, same builder again. This is kind of interesting and different. Horse-drawn wagon.
Wow, the old Eshy kit.
Mm-hmm. Wow, I like that.
Yeah,
very nice. A couple more shots of the same.
ICM just released a horse. Is that
maybe,
or is it a mini art kit? Oh, mini art just released a new.
Yeah, you talking about that one we looked at today?
Yeah,
I think that was 16 scale.
Oh,
but I think they've got some 35th scales. I can't remember if it's mini art or ICM.
That would be a nice mashup.
Yeah,
put them together.
Yeah, that would be cool. All right. And got another one here. I think he's got this one and one more model, and this will round out his collection for the evening. SU-76I conversion. And his comments up here, he was quite a long ways along with the conversion, and then Dragon released their kit. So that seems to happen a lot whenever you're scratch building something.
It's always the way it goes.
Yep.
So if you really want to see a new kit, just
start scratch
building one, and then put it on the shelf, and someone will come out with it.
Oh yeah. All right, and rounding out his collection, this is a 72 scale B-17B. He says he's mostly an armor guy, but just like his Nosferatu, you gotta venture out sometimes.
That's very nice.
Yeah, so that finishes up our first set of slides. We have 7 set of slides tonight, guys. So got a lot to look at. Hey, I warned you that it was going to be a long night. We're going ahead and doing next week's show tonight too, I guess, right? So up next, this is Buck Dean, a good buddy of mine. Him and his wife have become good friends recently, and this is his model room.
That workbench is just way too clean. You need to start throwing some stuff around, make it lived in a little bit.
What are you saying, Jeff?
I don't know. I'm jealous. My bench looks like a grenade went off.
There you go. We always like seeing workbenches. Yeah, here's Buck's kit. This is his Super Sherman M51 from Tamiya. And as you can see here, he's got all sorts of upgrade goodies, rye-filled tracks, legend parts, star decals. Looks like he used AK paints and MRP primers. So great job on this Buck. Looks really nice.
Matt Johnson asked a question about Royal Navy anti-fouling gray.
Okay, yeah.
Matt, I've been working with Jamie Duff and Richard Dennis over in the UK. They're the brain trust behind the Color Coats paint line, and yeah, we're all friends, and we're still trying to figure out if there's a if there's even a formulation for it. All it says is Royal Navy anti-fouling gray. They did discover that Hood's hull was painted, and many other famous ships that were Royal Navy. So if we can find information that says it was this particular shade of gray, yeah, absolutely, we'll put it into production.
And Ed will Aaron Ward, that'll certainly be a good paint set to use. We'll get you hooked up. All right, moving right along. This is an interesting picture. This is Gary, and he's got his kit, but he chose to build Hell's Angels from the 303rd Bomb Group. And he says that this was actually the first bomber to complete 25 missions. In fact, beating Memphis Belle by a week or two. So that is interesting. I don't know that story, so I'm looking forward to reading about it. But there's his books, all of his reference, and of course, you got to love the Squadron reference, right? But here is the kit, and this is how this turned out.
I think that they chose to not use this particular aircraft because of the name and the nose art.
Oh, as
for
the
publicity
purposes.
Yeah,
okay.
Memphis Belle was a little more tame.
Okay, gotcha. That makes sense. But hey, that is cool. I'm glad you chose to build this version and teach me something, right? And let me go back. Was this it didn't say what scale this was. Let us know what scale this is. I want to say it's 72 scale, but sometimes you can't tell in pictures. So if you're here in the chat, drop in the chat group over there if this is 72 or 48 scale. But you did a good job on it. It looks very nice.
To answer your last question, Matt, I'm not sure. Not sure if the records were destroyed or just haven't been discovered in the archives yet. But as soon as we find out, you'll be the first to know.
Absolutely. All right. And this will round out his collection for tonight. Got a final picture here of the underside. Very nice. Thank you for sending those in. Moving right along to Roger. This is a 72 scale M4 high-speed tractor, the Hobby Boss kit. And as he says in his description here, it was up to Hobby Boss's normal standards. and a little bit of work there that he did using a Kleenex tissue
Yeah.
for the parts. Do what you got to do, but it looks good. Let's take a closer look.
Yeah, absolutely. And no, I don't think we're going to be doing workable track lengths in 70-second scale.
Hey, it'd be fun.
Well, maybe for you.
Yeah. Nice decal work there on the back. So great job on this. Thank you for sending this one in. Yeah, Hobby Boss has got a couple different versions of that little thing. So nice kit. Moving along to Derek, and this is kind of cool. This is the second dinosaur we've seen tonight. Usually don't get to see any dinosaurs. Now we get to see two. So this is kind of cool. When I was plugging this in, I have not seen this kit in forever, and Derek talked about getting this kit as a kid around 74, 75, and he built it back then. And
That's Mountbatten pink.
There you go. But he pulled this out of storage, and it kind of wasn't really standing up or anything anymore. So you had to do a little work to it and get it back to good. So glad you're able to get an old kit out of the closet and bring it back to life.
That brings back memories.
There you go. And yes, as some of you guys that know this kit, the teeth do glow in the dark, and you probably can't see it because it's very dark. Yep. But if you squint and look really close, you can see his eyes and his teeth are glowing there in the dark. So very, very cool kit. Thank you for sending that one in tonight. A blast from the past, so to speak. All right, moving along to Jason. These are some of the kits that he said he was intending on bringing to the Chattanooga show this past weekend that, of course, ended up not happening. So, Jason, I'm looking forward to seeing these perhaps in Marietta, and if not there, definitely in the rescheduled Chattanooga show in a few months. But this is his 48 scale P51. This was the Royal class kit from Edward. So he did a great job on that. And this is a 48 scale Tamiya P47 that Jason has done. So nice job on that.
Mike C. Yes, it's in development.
Mike talking about workable tracks. We didn't really touch on the tracks tonight just because we had a long enough show planned. So I apologize about that, but we will have more information on the 3D printed track line coming soon. There are somewhere in the ballpark of 50 tracks already designed, already ready to go. It's just a matter of getting them into production, and that'll happen shortly after the paint production is finished. So it'll be coming.
That's my next project.
There you go. Tamiya 48 scale V1, also from Jason. Those are always cool. I like seeing these. All right, and that'll round out our second set of slides. And let's jump right into our third slide. And this is going to be J. Banks Haley. This is 24 scale Datsun 240Z Fairlady. Giving us some car models this evening.
Nice work on the chrome trim.
Oh, yeah. And to kind of tie this build into our paint, we talked about having ship colors, aircraft colors, armor colors, monster colors, figure colors, sci-fi colors, car colors. We do not have any of those at the moment. That'll not be a part of our initial 220 base set of colors, but it is something that we will consider down the road. So we're not trying to leave the car guys out of the paint, but it's just one step at the time. So
wow, nicely done.
Oh yeah, look at that. Hey lady, Neville, good to see you as well. Hadn't seen you in a while. Good to have you back on the show. All right, same builder. This is moving into another car, 24 scale 1948 Ford police car. So this is pretty cool. Did a good job on that. Get a good shot of the inside of the engine compartment there.
Were they still running moonshine in 1948? That would make
Yeah,
that would make a real.
there you go. That'd make a cool diorama. Why don't
Well,
you-
I guess I should. I mean, most of your early NASCAR drivers got their start running moonshine and running from the police.
well, either way, that's
So it's something like that. All kidding aside, I mean, you see a model like that, and
and then all of a sudden your brain starts spinning.
It starts the wheels turning about doing a project like that on your own.
Oh yeah. All right, moving right along. Danny Haney is got a 35th scale artillery kit. This is an elephant. Nicely done. Same, but he's got all sorts of different category interests here, and this is one of those kind of interesting things that you've been seeing lately. These larger scale turrets, and I mean, I think Ming even has a large scale anchor from the Yamato. I mean, so you're seeing these large scale ship parts, and they're actually kind of popular. And Danny, of course, is a fan with his Scharnhorst turret here.
I'm kind of hoping they come out with the rest of the ship.
Yeah, building in super large scale, one piece at a time, right?
I'd like a 35th scale Scharnhorst.
I don't know where you'd put it, but all right. And same builder here. This is his 350th scale Graf Spee. Got a couple of other models on the same display shelf there, so very nicely done.
Graf Spee or Shear? Oh, he says it's Shear.
Uh,
Yeah, that's what the little. That's what,
okay, well, he's got
oh yeah,
oh,
but
well,
Dennis is out. Okay.
I think his shear's over here behind
Okay,
the
gotcha. Yeah,
behind
there
the
it is. It's
bow,
behind.
All right, well, cool. And this is this is a oldie but a goodie, a Chaffee kit from Testers.
That the old Italeri kit, and then it was a Peerless Max kit back in the 70s, maybe.
Who knows?
Yeah.
He built it out of the Testers box, so whatever it was before that. Let's see, and this is moving up to a much newer release for him, a 72 scale kit from Magic Factory, their Puma. That's a really nice kit, and you did a good job on it. Awesome. All right, and here is another relatively new release. It's not that new, few years, but Tacom 72 scale kit, their little tractor kit. So that's neat. Good job on that. Let's see. That is the end of that slide. So before we pull up, then I got we got 2 or 3 more slides to go, maybe 4. Before we get into the next slide, let's go ahead and start this little giveaway. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to do. I think we're going to do 3 $25 gift cards.
Sounds good.
You're going to do 3 $25 gift cards, and obviously, you can use these gift cards on whatever you want on Squadron, but hopefully you'll use them to try out some of our new paint. So here's how the giveaway works. In the chat, let me make it up real quick. You're just going to type the word Scale Colors. All one word. I'll do it first so you can see. Just like that. Type in Scale Colors, and you will be entered into this drawing, the first of the 3. And then as soon as we finish up this show and tell, we'll do the drawing right here live on the screen, and somebody's going to get them some money to spend on Squadron.
There you go.
Heck yeah. All right, so moving right along. Why do I have... Let me double check this. I may have the same slide in here twice. Yeah, we'll see what happens. So here is Bill Moore. He has done a 48 scale Jag Panther, and kind of cool the way he did this with the whole little diorama scene here.
Yeah, it's kind of neat when you see guys do the production line stuff, you know.
Right.
I did that with the Geschützwagen because it was a paper project, and you know, okay, maybe it was in prime, and all the engineering markings and stuff like that. I really like that. It's a great
cool.
approach.
It adds a lot of interesting things to look at to the model, and really any diorama does. I mean, just any of this stuff is just adds to it. It gives you more stuff to look at.
Puts it into context, and it kind of gives it a human element.
Absolutely. And I just love all the markings on there. Just looks cool. So great job on that, Bill. One final look at that real quick.
Oh, and that's 48th scale. Wow.
Okay. Yep, that's right. Moving right along to Derek Kuss, or Koos, excuse me if I mispronounce it. This is a Yukikaze from Tamiya in 1/350th scale. Nicely done. Got a couple of pictures to go through and look at this.
I didn't even get a chance to see this one up close. I like it. Yeah, nice work.
Yeah, a lot of times when I'm laying these show and tells out, I get a glimpse of the model, but really the first time I really get to look and stare at it is when I'm pulling it up on the screen for everybody to see. So this is a nice job. Nice tight rigging. Turned out really nice. All right, moving right along. This is a kind of a cool one. Butch did this one, and this I believe this is a kind of a fun project for him. This is a 32 scale P47D from Hasegawa. But if you read his little description here, he said this was built for his IPMS Club's nose art theme, and he says the nose art is his mother's wedding picture, and her grandkids called her Miss Betty. So that's what the name of the plane is. His father is listed as the pilot for this. His initials are on the side of the aircraft. The tail number represents their wedding date. The red nose and rudder puts this aircraft with the 56th Fighter Group, known as Zemke's Wolf Pack, which is the name of the football team where his father graduated from. So it's kind of cool. You know, I always say, build models for you. And that's certainly what he's done here, and he's done a fantastic job on it, and has an interesting story to tell.
Absolutely. Put a lot of thought into that.
Oh, absolutely. It's very cool. Has a lot of meaning, and besides all the meaning, it's a really good job, too.
Now it's a family heirloom.
Exactly. There you go.
Very cool.
Yeah, there's his dad's name on the side.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Well done, Butch.
Oh, yeah. All right, moving over to Paul Moore. This is the 1/16 scale kit, FT17. So
I like the groundwork.
yeah, this is
It's really
kind of
nice.
neat how he's got the mud flipping up, and that chain looks awesome.
What I really like is if anyone's ever worked with heavy equipment, when you're running through wet mud, it doesn't get always get caked up, but he's really done a good job of keeping that wet look onto the tracks.
And remember, guys, we have a current. Let's see. Let me get it pulled back up here. We've got a current giveaway going. $25 gift card. Just type in the term scale colors. We only got 50 of you guys that are signed up right now. So type in scale colors in the chat. And when we get done with this show and tell, I'm going to click that draw button and we're going to see who wins. And we're going to do it 3 times. All right, jumping back into here. 32 scale Dauntless from the same builder. So nice job on that. I like how you've got it displayed there. All right, moving along to Pascal de Suter. And this is a 72 scale Phantom from Airfix. First look here is of the underside. And then we'll flip over here and check out this top side. Yeah, it's a nice job here. I love those contrasting colors. That's really neat. So you did a great job on that, Pascal. All right, and moving right along to Don. And this is kind of interesting. You know, a lot of times we talk about model kits.
Yep.
But sometimes a model kit can be something like this. So what Don's done, this is a 43rd scale die-cast Jeep. But he's not just displaying the die-cast. He's actually repainted this. He said detailed this. And I guess we would call it a conversion.
Yeah.
So he's
absolutely.
taken this die-cast and he's redone it to represent the 759th Tank Battalion. So this is kind of neat.
At the end of the day, it's whatever makes you happy.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And I'll be honest with you. I mean, you know, I have die-cast collectibles that sit on my shelf with my, you know, models that I've put hundreds of hours into. And at the end of the day, if you look at them and they give you, you know, if the process gives you enjoyment and makes you happy, who cares?
Yep. Going back to that SBD, Mike Sabovic just pointed out that was the Akagi killer. So nice catch there, Mike. That's awesome. And one more look at this converted die-cast Jeep before we move along. So great job on that, buddy. Thank you for sending that in. Let's see, what else do we have here? And again, remember to drop scale colors in the chat and you'll be in the drawing, so to speak. All right, so this is the one that I think I doubled up my slides. So we'll move through here quickly and see if there's anything in here that we didn't already see, just in case. But I think I loaded this slide up. Oh, there we go. All right. So David Waples.
Our good friend Dave.
Yeah, this is, and Dave is one of those guys that guessed what we were doing with the paint.
Yeah.
So Dave runs a ship model club out in Colorado. It's an online ship club. So if anybody is interested in a digital ship model club, send me an email. I'll get you in touch with David, and I'll have David's information up on the website at some point. We're working on a section on our website that we're calling Our Friends, and we'll certainly link to Dave's ship club there. But Dave, you can tell all your buddies about the paint now. The cat's out of the bag. So here is Dave's 700 scale I-16 sub, and he's got all sorts of goodies on this. His Infinity Lycra rigging, his weathering it with oils using Tamiya paints, Tom's Model Works photo etch, you know, all the fun stuff for something like this. And guys, imagine how small this is being 700 scale. It's tiny. and he's done a great job detailing this. So. Good job with that, Dave. I appreciate you sending it in. All right, moving on to Simon. He has done just this one picture of this one, so take it in. It's a really cool kit. Monarch Models makes this kit. It's 1/8 scale, and this is their moon suit. So really good job on that. I appreciate you sending that in. All right, and this is another one of those models that you do for fun. You do for yourself. But in this case, David did not do it for himself. He did it for Michael Goddard, the artist, buddy of his, and this guy has a following, if you know anything about him. But so David says that Michael does all this stuff with green olives and whatever, and so he has depicted the pilot of this aircraft to be one of the characters, an olive, as you see, and the pinup nose art being a strawberry lady. So just another one of those things that you do for yourself for fun, because there's a fun story to go behind it. You've done a good job on this, buddy, and I'm sure Michael appreciated it. I hope he did anyway. So sometimes modeling is supposed to be fun, and this is a great example of that. So thank you for, well, all the time.
All the
right?
time. Otherwise,
it's supposed to be fun all the time. So
otherwise we'd be doing something else.
there you go.
Of course, they say the same thing about golf, and I'm a horrible golfer. It's supposed to be fun, but
Yeah. Well, nonetheless, good job on that, and thank you for sending it. Now, this is a work in progress from our buddy Q that works with us at Squadron. And he is currently working with this is 48 scale TA152H1, and this is an Italeri kit, which they reboxed the old Dragon kit. But he's working on it, doing some scratch building on the engine department, and got a lot of work to go. But Q, I'm looking forward to seeing the finished product. But next up, we do have a finished product from him, and this is a pretty cool thing. A little bit of a change of pace for us tonight, getting into a little bit of a robot. This is a 35th scale Bandai kit, Scope Dog, from a 1980s anime show, and one of Q's favorites, he says. So he says he built this out of the box, with the exception of it being painted differently than the box might show. So he said this helped him get out of modeler's block a while back. So I'm glad to hear that. I'm looking forward to seeing your other kit finished and what else you've got coming down the pipe soon, Q. Thanks for showing that to us today. We got some pictures of that in time. So, all right, next up, we got 2 slides left, 2 modelers left, Bill Davis and Ed Groon. So we'll check out Bill Davis's kits first. This is a 1/700 scale Akagi in her early 3-deck configuration. Hasegawa puts this kit out. Tom's Model Works made the photo etch that he used. So we'll take a look at this for a moment. Good job on that. It looks really nice.
can you imagine being the guy that has to take off from the bottom deck?
Oh, well, there's probably more than one reason they changed that. All right, next up, he's got a 350th scale USS Freedom. This is the trumpeter version of this kit.
Built up in Marionette, my home state of Wisconsin.
There you go. Great job on that.
Yeah, it looks great.
All right, and last but not least for Bill is a T-34 from Tamiya, 35th scale. Great job on that kit. Well, Bill, thank you for sending that in. I appreciate it. Those look excellent. And last one before we do our drawing, remember, type in scale colors in the chat and you'll be entered in this drawing for a $25 gift card. All right, Ed Groom, first up on his list, 72 scale FA-18E Super Hornet, VFC 12, the Fighting Omars. I'll let you guys check out this for a moment. He says he built it out of the box. I'm just sitting here reading through what he's done to it. This is pretty cool. 2 Bob's decals is what he used.
You sign up for the drawing, make sure it's scale colors, all one word.
Yep, that's right.
The computer's going to be doing the
the
picking. So if it's not all one word, you might not get entered.
Yep.
Computers are fussy like that.
There you go. Here's another look at this kit. That looks nice. Yeah, Jeff's right. I see a lot of people putting scale colors in as 2 words. Put it in 1 word, just like
that.
Yeah, scale colors, all 1 word. So if you typed it in as 2 words, retype it in as 1 word. All right, moving right along in Ed's collection here. This is another view of this kit. This looks kind of cool. You know, it's not the normal paint scheme you usually see on these things. All right, changing up pace a little bit with Ed. This is Aaron Ward, old Yankee Model Works kit. Or, well, he lists it also as Blue Ridge model, so perhaps this was done after we rebranded everything as Blue Ridge models. But either way, this is a 350th scale kit, and looks like you've done a really good job on this, Ed.
Yeah, Ed, I have to ask, is that scale colors paint on that model?
That's a good question. Yeah, because
if it is, it looks really good.
Yeah, well, looks really good even if it's not. But
well, he gets extra points if it is.
That's true. Yeah, Ed's been using scale colored paints for quite a while now. So, well, hey, look, we might get the answer right here. Oh, there you go, scale colors. Awesome. So, got a big combination of stuff here: gold medal, white engine models, Tom's Model Works, Black Cat 3D parts. All sorts of stuff through here, and of course scale colors, above and below decals for the anti-skid plates. That's those are some cool decals, and I think we just got a restock of those.
Yeah,
you'll have to take a look at them if you hadn't seen them, Jeff.
I will.
And he says yes, that is a broken prop on the base. Well, it happens more often than we all like to admit, but
really nicely done. It. Again, as I said earlier, I've been living vicariously through my customers.
There you go.
Because I don't have time to build because I'm always making paint. And it's really nice to see, you know.
I got you. Well, at least you get good models like that to look at, right? Yeah. And here we have the last but not least for Ed, we get a preview of what's to come. He is working on an Iron Shipwrights 350th scale kit of USS Jenkins. So this will be cool to see, Ed. I'm looking forward to seeing how this finishes up for you.
That's why he ordered Modern Haze Gray.
That is probably why.
Haze Gray number 23.
Considering Ed was one of the customers that guessed what we were doing, he went ahead and sent us an order a few days ago. He says, "I know what you guys are up to. Here's what I need." So,
yeah, he had us pegged.
Yeah, your order will be headed out soon, Ed.
It's been awfully difficult to keep quiet about all this.
Oh man. Well, I think that's gonna finish us up for the show and tell tonight, guys. I really appreciate that. That was the biggest show and tell that we've had so far. So I definitely want to keep the show and tell up. If we keep having more and more, we'll probably have to set up some rules and maybe scale it back to 2 or 3 submissions per person. I don't know. We'll come up with something, but I want it to keep growing. It's a lot of fun. I love seeing your guys work. It's just a lot of fun. So we
could just go to 3 hours.
That's true. That's true. But I know you guys are getting tired of hearing me talk, so let's give something away, right? Now, remember, you got to type in scale colors, all one word, and I'm going to give it about 10 more seconds, and then we're going to hit that draw button. And remember, I'm on about a 30-second delay. So my 10 seconds, I might already have hit the draw button by the time they hear me say that.
This is true.
Oh, man. All right. So here's how it's going to work. I'm going to hit the draw button, and I'm going to do that right now. There you go, David in. So here's what I need you to do, David. I need you to email me at info@squadron.com and let me know you were the winner, and I'll, fact check it and all that fun stuff compared to this replay video. But send me your email so I can pull up your account on Squadron. You have to have an account on Squadron. So if somebody wins these next two drawings and you don't have an account on Squadron, make sure to set one up first, because that's the only way I can put in a $25 credit in your account is if you have an account. So shoot me an email, David, and I'll get that put in your account probably tomorrow, and you can go shopping. $25 for you. So let's go again. Boom, second $25. Who's gonna win?
Me.
Lady
Wow,
Knievel.
there
There
you
you
go.
go. All right. Hey, you hadn't been here on the show the last few weeks. Been busy. Heck, I've been busy too, but nothing like winning the $25 Squadron gift card your first night back. So congratulations. Shoot me an email and I will plug in $25 to your account. All right. Last round. We're going to draw one more time for the final $25. Beth Hill is the winner of the last $25 gift card. So Beth, again, email me, let me know what your account is on the website on Squadron, and I'll plug that in for you. And I hope you guys find something that you love.
How could you not?
I don't know. You got to, whether it's paint or not. I hope you guys find something you like. We got all sorts of cool stuff coming in. Lots of new announcements. I'll have the email I sent out earlier today didn't really have much information except for what we had going on tonight. So I've got another email planned for Friday to catch you guys up on some of the other new products that have been announced. And yeah, so everybody make sure to head over to Squadron, pick you up some new Squadron Scale Colors paint, and get the painting. Have fun with it. I enjoy it. Like I said, test it out on some old plastic, see how it works for you, see what you can do with it. And
Yep.
I look forward to seeing what you guys do in future show and tells. For the next show and tell, let's look at the calendar. We always like to do this, right? We need to get back to doing it on the first Wednesday of the month again. So let's do it. February 5th.
Guess what that day that is?
What day? Wednesday?
It's my birthday.
Oh, all right. Well,
It'll be a birthday show and tell.
there you go. All right. February 5th will be our next show and tell. I've already got a few submissions that came in late today that I didn't have a chance to put on tonight. So that'll start us off next month. And yeah, you guys, I really appreciate it. Y'all take it easy, and we will talk to you soon. Y'all have a good evening.